You know that little voice in your head? The one that loves to pop up at the absolute worst moment? Right before a big meeting, in the middle of a tough workout, or maybe when you're lining up a crucial shot? Yeah, that one. It's like our own personal inner saboteur, and man can it derail our focus. But what if you could do more than just silence that voice? What if you could actually make it your biggest ally? Well, that's exactly what we're going to break down today. Let's dive in.
So think of this as your personal workshop. First up, we're going to diagnose the problem, how that inner voice is actually sabotaging you. Then we'll build a mental first aid kit for handling stress right when it hits. After that, we're going to shift from defense to offense, learning how to tackle problems proactively. Then we get to the really good stuff, mastering the flow state for peak performance. And finally, we'll pull it all together into a mental workout you can do every day to stay sharp.
All right, so let's dig into the problem itself, because in any high-stakes situation, our own thoughts can become our worst enemy. They completely mess with our mental and physical routines, and that leads directly to, well, not so great performance.
I want you to really think about this for a second. When the pressure is really on, what does that voice in your head start saying? Is it telling you that you're not ready? That you're about to fail? Just recognizing that voice is the first step, because honestly, learning to manage it can be the single biggest difference between success and self-destruction.
This right here, this is the choice we face in any high-pressure moment. On one side, you've got these destructive thoughts that just pull you into the future, making you worry about failing. And on the other side, you've got supportive self-talk that anchors you right here, in the present. The real power is in that simple shift, from worrying about the outcome to just focusing on this one shot.
So, when that destructive voice starts yelling, how do we fight back? We need a mental first aid kit, a set of really simple, powerful tools we can grab in the heat of the moment to get back in control of our mind and our body.
And the response is a super simple 3-step process. It starts with your body. You have to physically calm yourself down. That's step 1, arousal reduction. Once your body's a little more settled, you can engage your mind by talking back to that negative voice with some cold, hard logic. That's your rational dialogue. And finally, you just redirect your attention back to what you're doing. That's focused thinking.
Let's make this real. Imagine you're late and you're stuck in bumper-to-bumper traffic. First, arousal reduction. You take a deep breath and you make your exhale twice as long as your inhale. This physically calms your nervous system down. Next, rational dialogue. You challenge the panic and tell yourself, look, getting upset isn't going to change a thing. And finally, focused thinking. You ground yourself in the present. Feel the steering wheel, notice the cars around you. Simple, right?
Okay, so that first aid kit is perfect for those in-the-moment emergencies. But what about the bigger stuff? You know, the worries that just kind of linger, or the frustrations caused by other people? To handle those, we need to move from playing defense to playing offense.
I absolutely love this idea. It's a total game changer. Instead of letting some problem hijack your whole day, you literally schedule a time to deal with it. You just tell yourself, okay, I'm going to think about this tomorrow at 4 p.m. And that gives you permission to set the worry aside and actually focus on what's right in front of you.
Now, when your worry appointment finally arrives, you follow this exact 5-step process. The whole point is to get the problem out of your head and onto paper where you can see it clearly. You describe it, brainstorm solutions, and then you ask the most important question of all. Do I have to act on this right now? If the answer is no, you just schedule a new appointment. Easy. If it's yes, well, now you've got a clear way to weigh your options and make a call.
All right, so we've covered the stress inside our own heads and those nagging worries. But let's be real, sometimes the problem isn't us. What do you do when the source of your frustration is someone else? That slow colleague, the person in your group who won't stop talking? How do you handle that?
The goal here is to be assertive, not aggressive, and that means dealing with the problem calmly and right away. You use I statements to own your feelings, so something like, I feel distracted when, instead of, you are distracting me. You make a simple request, take a breath, and get back to your task. This stops that little irritation from bubbling up and eventually boiling over. So being assertive is part 1. Part 2 is the follow-through, and for that, we use this awesome acronym, LEMO. Leave it and move on. After you've addressed the issue, this becomes a powerful little mental trigger to tell yourself, okay, I've dealt with that, my focus is back here now. It's what stops you from replaying the incident over and over in your mind.
So we've got our emergency kit and our proactive tools. Now we get to the ultimate goal. This is where we build the mental muscle that stops distractions from ever taking hold in the first place. It's time to talk about mastering the flow state.
The flow state. You might know it as mindfulness or just being in the zone. It's that incredible feeling where time seems to disappear and your actions feel totally effortless and precise. It's all about being completely absorbed in what you're doing, right here and right now, without your mind wandering to the past or worrying about the future.
So how in the world do you get there? It all starts with learning to control your attention. Think of it like a camera lens. You've got your broad focus, that's your general awareness of everything around you, like seeing the whole traffic pattern, and then you have your narrow focus. That's when you zoom in on one specific detail, like the number on a single license plate. Being able to shift between these two modes whenever you want, that's the core skill of mindfulness.
And the best part is, this isn't some mystical thing you can only do on a mountaintop. You practice it in your everyday life. When you're in the shower, instead of planning your day, just focus on the sensation of the water. When you're eating, actually taste your food. When you're talking to someone, give them your entire focus. The common thread in all of this is really simple. Just slow down, breathe deeply, and be intentional about where you put your attention.
Okay, we've just put together a seriously powerful toolkit. But, just like a physical workout, these mental tools only work if you actually use them, consistently. So let's quickly recap how to build these into a regular habit.
If there's one idea that ties everything we've talked about together, it's this. What you feed with attention grows. It's so true. Every time you let a negative thought run wild, you're making it stronger. But every single time you intentionally shift your focus back to the present moment, back to a solution, you are actively training your brain for success.
So here's your quick reference guide. For that immediate "I'm freaking out right now" stress, you use the 3-step response. For those nagging worries that just won't go away, you pull out the 5-step problem-solving method. When frustrations are coming from other people, you use assertion and limo. And to build that core mental strength over time, you make mindfulness your daily workout.
So, this isn't just information. It's a call to action. The real work of mastering your inner voice starts right now. Look at the toolkit we've built and think about your own life, your own challenges. Which one of these tools are you going to put into practice first?